Hey there and welcome to another episode of Seenu. Today we started things off a little bit differently. Just so you know, I'm recording this the day before the Mass Transit update is supposed to come out. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I tend to record this episode sort of in the middle of the week. And since, usually every time one of these updates comes out, it basically destroys my game for a couple of days. So hopefully we can get some work done. I'm going to try to do a bit of a different format on this one. I've been getting quite a few comments in the last couple of videos from many of you requesting to do a bit of a real-time build episode and not, just 100% time-lapse. So I'm going to give that a shot. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it 100% real time. It really depends on how much I'm able to accomplish today before the update comes out. But first of all, I do want to give you a quick update on some of the things that I've been doing off camera. It's really nothing major, but basically this street right here is where the city used to end in the previous episode. So I did some expansion towards this side. I don't know if you can see this, and this is probably, I think I mentioned this during previous episodes, but now you can probably see it more clearly, which is the fact that we have streets that have a bit of a different texture. So we have these like sand-based streets, and over here we have this gravel-based streets. So you can see I did add some details to it. It's not perfect. I still want to come back here and add a few more things. But I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I definitely want to add some more decals, especially in the areas, where these two textures sort of meet. I want to have like a nice seamless transition. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how this place looks like. I obviously left some gaps here and there just so that I can come back later and detail them basically on camera, specifically around here, because we do want to have some commercial, buildings. We do have quite a bit of demand here, so hopefully we can tackle that. I don't know if we're gonna do that in this episode, but definitely in the next couple of videos. So a couple of things too that I want to talk about. So oh man, the frame rate is pretty terrible here. So there's this new mod that came out by TPV, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check. Yes, TPV, I said it right. I'm looking on my second monitor onto the Steam Workshop. It's called Plop the Grobles, and it's literally what it sounds like. So before this, we used to just rely on RICO, which is, RICO, in case you didn't know, it stands for Residential, Industrial, Commercial, and Office. And basically allows you to plop buildings, without zoning them. And as I've said many times, I'm done with zoning. Zoning is just a pain. You can't really control the buildings, and it just requires a lot of maintenance, and buildings change over time, so you really can't detail them. It's, all in all, it's kind of a cluster based on how I play this game. So this mod, as I said, if we switch back to growables, allows you to, plop any growables of any kind, not just the vanilla ones, anything that you're subscribed to, and treats them as RICO. So, for example, this ugly house, you can just put it here, and it works, and it's just a house with people living in them. Well, not right now, but eventually it will. But this brings me to something that I sort of talked about before, but not in great detail, which is there's a whole lot of really awesome forestry and farming buildings that if I do plop them, let me pause the game. Let me plop a few here. So I'm gonna put down this warehouse and this one and whatever, this sort of barn. Wow, the scales on these are completely off. Some of these look really nice. In fact, let me switch to another category. So let's put down this bad boy. This one is amazing. So if I hit play, by the way, when you do play Plop the Growables, you don't get the scaffolding anymore, which is awesome. It just like instantly becomes available. All right, let's start the simulation, and you'll see that these guys basically despawn one by one. There you go. Okay. So now, after a few seconds, they're all gone. And the reason why that is because the game is expecting the district to sort of be the specialization of those buildings. And if we go into the district menu, well, you see that we have 0 non-districts at all. This is a feature that I mean, I don't really have a incentive to use it, aside from a few policies that will, encourage maybe people to use their bikes over cars and things like that. I really don't have a use for that pretty much. So if we do want to have those kinds of buildings, and I think I kind of want them because I mean, for being vanilla buildings, it actually look pretty nice. These are some of the best vanilla buildings there are in the game. We will have to basically create districts around these areas and obviously set the different specializations as they are on this little tab. I'm going to start by adding a district right here. Obviously, I'm going to make it really rough first, and then I'm just going to polish the edges a little bit. This, by the way, it's hit Addu, so let's change it right now. Hit Addu. I think I'm spelling it right. Yeah, all right, I got it right. Perfect. So this one will be hit Addu. Let's continue adding, just making sure that you get all these corners right. I mean, I don't have to, but it just definitely looks nicer when you look at the districts menu. And hopefully this name will be recentered. There we go, as I create a bit of a larger zone here. Am I on the larger brush? I am not, but I am now. There we go. So let's just take care of this for a second. So I spent some time naming each and one of the islands that we have in this atoll. The bigger islands actually have the exact names from the atoll in real life. Most of the islands actually do. However, when I was sort of terraforming this map, I sort of the level of detail with the terraforming tools is not great. So in some cases, I skipped some of the smaller islands, and in this area in particular, I sort of added extra ones that are not necessarily there in real life. So, for example, in this cluster of islands, in real life, there's actually 5 of them. And I'm not going to even try to pronounce some of these names because I'm going to make a fool of myself. This one, Mardu and Feidu, I think these are pretty simple. Gan, Villingili, and so on. But this one's, I'm not going to even attempt pronouncing them. However, out of the 5 islands that were here in real life, there's 2 that, of course, are missing. And what I end up doing, just sort of keep the theme of in terms of naming, I named some of the extra islands around here with those names. So, like I said, for the most part, they're pretty accurate. Overall, they're accurate in the sense that they sort of share the same language that the entire atoll has, but the location of the islands and their names is not 100% realistic, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Even this, I noticed on Google Maps and on OpenStreetMaps that this big island has 2 names, Midu and Holhadu. And I wasn't sure when one started or the other one ended, so I just draw a line in the sand, literally, and this is what I came up with. I don't know. I use this big sort of ponds as a reference, I guess. I don't know. Now, there's a bit of a limitation when it comes to, setting the different specializations for this districts. You see, let's say I want to put down some forestry buildings in here. We would want to go into this menu, click the little tree. So now this little island is set to accept at least the forestry type of buildings. However, if we also want some farming buildings, well, we can't, because you can only do one district at a time, one specialization at a time, I mean, which is, it's not the end of the world, but this is obviously generic industry. You just have to remember what type of specialization you did for that district, and just, in this case, let's say we go for farming, then only put farming type buildings in here and not the forestry ones or the ore ones or whatever. It's really not a big deal in this specific case. However, in the major islands, you do want to have a variety of buildings. So I don't know. It's something that we might have to circumvent at least, or until at least the public robots mod gets updated. I don't know if that's even possible, but hopefully we can circumvent that limitation in the near future. This thing right here, this little farm, I was just working on this a couple episodes ago. I didn't really show it in the cinematics as I wasn't sure I liked the design a little bit, but it's, I'm kind of happy with how it looks. It's really simple, actually. but it's also really nice. So let me actually go into first person so you can see a little bit more detail. It's mostly Beer Monkeys decals as well as that barn in the back. And then we have some telegraph poles just sort of connecting the different lights around the area. So you can see the layout of this thing is, pretty, not grid-like. It's kind of a broken sort of a path, sort of taking advantage of every nook and cranny of this area. And I'm hoping to add more of these farm styles, specifically, for example, around the power station that we built a couple episodes ago. The sort of the surrounding areas of this is going to have a few farms. We're not going to have any more houses around here, by the way. This is sort of where, the houses kind of fade out, towards this tip of the island. And then another area that's going to have a lot of farms is Medu. From what I can gather in Google Maps, there's a ton of farms around here. So that's sort of what I'm planning. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is sort of address a comment that's being, repeated over and over again. And I know there's still going to be people who somehow missed this comment and going to still ask for it. But this island right here, the Heretere, I don't know, and Villingli or Villingili. Man, I really shouldn't be saying these names out loud. This is where some of the luxury hotel resorts will take place. I've been getting this question a lot if I'm going to be doing fancy hotels, and the answer is yes. This is where they're going to be. It's going to take a little while, but one of the things I'm actually looking forward to with the mass transit update is the ability to have ferries, ship passengers in between the city. There's already a mod that does this. It's from Bloody Penguin, if I'm not mistaken, where you can basically create what behaves like a bus route. I almost had it there. Why can't I hover? Oh, there you go, because it's in the middle of the ocean. So you can create a ship line between two different passenger docks, and that will carry, or bring passengers back and forth. So one thing I saw from the mass transit update is that apparently when you set up a line like this, it creates a path of buoys, which is not great. I think you can remove them, but if not, I'm gonna have to keep using this mod. Of course, as long as it works after the update, because I don't want a line of buoys just in the middle of my lagoon here. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's kind of sort of the future plans for the next couple episodes. But in the meantime, I've been talking a lot, so let's actually get to a building. And I want to focus your attention on this little patch of empty land, because we're going to be doing a bit of a housing project, like state, or government promoted, residential neighborhood. So I set aside some Rico buildings. These are actually vanilla, but I turned them into Rico. Obviously, this was before TPP's mod came out. But what I'm going to be doing is a bit of a cluster of this 5-story buildings. In real life, this exists, by the way. There's a difference though in terms of the architecture slightly, whereas the ones in real life have slope roofs, and I think they only have 4 floors. In fact, I was able to find a 4K sort of dash cam footage of this island in general, and I'm going to link it in the description. So if you want to see in greater detail how this place looks like and how it compares to what I'm working on right now, maybe you want to check that out. It actually gives you, it looks great. There's a ton of detail there. You can see this construction that I'm working on right now, as well as some of these other streets. In fact, this little roundabout shows up in the footage. I think it's a guy riding a motorcycle, and you could just the path that it takes is somewhere around here, and sort of takes this route, then goes around this area, looks at these buildings, and then it just drives around the inner streets. So definitely check it out. All right, so let's build some things in here. Obviously, we don't have any power, but I'm looking at my other monitor right now. So I'm gonna make this complex look a little bit under construction, and so we have 1, 2, 3, 3.5. All right, so we have probably 1, I think I'm gonna be using Move It for this. I want to make it so that this is going to be like a nicer neighborhood eventually, like it's like paved roads and things like that. I've seen those types of neighborhoods from Google Maps in the capital of the Maldives, in Malé. And I think I want to replicate, I'm guessing they're trying to build sort of the same design. If you are from the Maldives, specifically from this area, please do let me know if I'm completely wrong in my assumption right now. But that's kind of what I was looking at as a reference. So let's bring this over here. Use Move It to sort of correct those roads. And man, it's been a while since I've been like building and commenting. It's, you know, this brings me back to the Cedar Valley days. So let's just select these, and I think we're gonna do this. So we're gonna put that, and then we are going to put this two over here. All right, so that's looking good. Let's bring this, you know, closer to this side so that they're somewhat equidistant between the different buildings. I love how they just sort of change colors. You know what? They do look a little bit tight together. I'm wondering if I can somehow bring these closer like so. It doesn't have to be perfect. It certainly helps if it's perfect, as long as you are perfect. I am not, so I have to eyeball most of these things. So let's just create some notes there to get rid of the bollards. This one obviously didn't work, but we can do that and they go away. All right, that looks pretty good. I love sort of the color theme. Let's see if we can shuffle them around so they're all sort of the same colors in the same areas. All right, so I aligned them based on color, and now the entrances of these buildings, they all aim towards this road in particular. Now, I was just looking at this looks a little bit tight, to be honest. So what I'm going to do is spread out the streets just a little bit so that we can fit, or so that they fit nicer, I think. So let's select some of these nodes, something like that. Yeah, that works. All right, so let's bring this down here just a tad. And actually this road, we can just massage it this way. I left some of these spots open. In fact, I'm gonna get rid of this one too, because I do wanna make this area look like what I see on the screen, which is basically under construction. And so some of these are finished, but they're still working on this ones and a different design over here as well. So we're gonna have a bit of a different type of housing project on this plot of land. So let me just rearrange this a little bit better. That looks pretty decent. Maybe this one, bring it closer so that they do look a little bit more aligned. So I went ahead and added a few more buildings, and as you can see, it's definitely a different style, but I really like how it looks. I do want to address something that, you know, it's been in the comments for a little while. It's not a popular comment, but I do want to talk about it because it does make sense to at least bring it up. As you can see, some of these houses have chimneys, which, you know, in a setting like this, you wouldn't really need a fireplace. It doesn't make any sense. I'm using some Russian houses. Let's see if I can find one. Obviously right now as I'm looking at these, like for example this ones, these are some Russian style houses, and I really like how they look, and I think they totally fit the theme. And obviously they do have chimneys, but I mean, I'm kind of looking past that. Obviously the level of detail that I have on these assets to play with is somewhat limited. So, you know, sometimes you just have to look over certain things and, you know, just ignore them, I guess. So this ones do have a lot of chimneys, but I really like how the building looks in general. I think it totally fits the theme. So I'm just going to keep it for now. And in fact, let me see if I can just duplicate one more row of buildings here, maybe. I think that would look pretty good. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. So let's get some streets going in the middle. Let's just move all these nodes just right in the middle of all of these roads. Sorry, all of these buildings. And that actually looks pretty nice. What are these lights though? This is troubling. These part of the road. These seem to be part of the road. Why? Oh, because I used Move It and Network Skins. I guess it ignores if I set it to no street lights. I wish that was the default. I never want street lights. I want to add them manually. I guess that's just me. I mean, I do want street lights for these types of roads, but for all the other types, like I definitely do not want street lights. I don't think they look great, especially when they're like right in the middle of the thing. That makes no sense. So once again, let's create a node here. That way we can get rid of the bollards that we are not going to be needing. There we go. Fantastic. All right, so I'm not sure what the next step will be, so give me just a second, I'll be right back. So I spent a couple minutes off camera just adding a few details here and there. And as you can see, I started to sort of set the blueprints of, you know, what the future versions of these buildings will be on this site. And these are all Beard Monkey's construction kit. They're amazing. You can do just all kinds of things. In fact, let me just show you one of my favorite things, which is the fact that you can do something like this. Let's actually grab this one. So if this is a prop and you have Move It, and I think prop snapping too, but you can just do things like this. So we're gonna put this down here and this down here, and then bring this up a bit. I'm kind of eyeballing it here, so it's not, you know, perfectly aligned or anything. In fact, you know what? It's easier if we just do this. So you copy it and then you bring it up right about there. That looks pretty decent to me. Let's unselect this. And there you go. Now we have the structure or the core of a building like this. And I mean, I left all of this space here to potentially have some materials that, you know, the different resources that will be needed by construction crews to be able to finish this. And I also fenced out the entire perimeter, as you can see here. And we have some decals on this road as well. I just put some random garbage right here on this little corner. But these buildings are active and people are living in them. As you can see here, there's quite a few households. However, they're not 100% full because we definitely have a ton of demand for office and industrial. Which brings me to something else that I've been doing off camera, which is I did this little factory here. It's really nothing too crazy. I didn't think it made sense to do it on camera. As you can see, these are all like decals on the floor, and there's like gravel in the, you know, at the bottom to not get the tufts sort of growing in between the joints. I did add some tufts manually here, but for the most part, this you know, it's a pretty clean build. We have some some trucks parked in there. Let me actually get closer so you can see a bit more what's going on. For the most part, like I said, it's pretty clean. I wish that I could add some decals over these decals, but I just can't. They glitch the crap out of everything, so I just decided to leave it like that. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. So what we need to do next is start, well, adding more details around here. I definitely want to add some decals to sort of blend in the different textures. So I'm starting things off by putting down some dirt decals over here. And this one in particular, it's great for blending in the, you know, the specific textures that I have in the map theme. So I can just do something like this. And I usually try to not overlap decals very much to sort of avoid what I was saying before, this glitch where they just fight for the Z-axis. And it just flickers a lot. It doesn't look very nice, especially in cinematics. I already went ahead and add a few more of these dark decals over here, but let's just add a couple in this little corner. And that's pretty much it. Let's see, what else do we have here? So we can have a bit of a path kind of going in here. Let's try to rotate it like this. Now I'm also mixing up this super large ones that help me, sort of make this road that we just put down come together with the surrounding areas. And I also put down a few more of these larger ones around here as well. So let me see if I go construction, what do we have? So we have a whole bunch of pipes. I definitely want to have a bit of an area where I can just dump a whole lot of materials. And I don't think I have a large... You know what? Before we do that, let's actually put down a crane, because this one's going to take a long, a lot of space, not a long time. And this looks like the right height compared to those buildings. So let's just go ahead and put it maybe right here in the middle, so it can serve both these, construction sites. So right there, I think it's okay. There we go. That's not too bad. In fact, you know what? Let's bring it back a little bit more. So grab this fence, and I think there's another one there. So something like this. So it looks like they actually went around the crane when they put this together. So there we go. That gives it enough space to be able to rotate, theoretically rotate. And that looks good enough. In fact, you know what? Let's just make it a bit more dramatic. Clearly, this one is being constructed right now. So let's just rotate it in that fashion. There we go. I don't think that's going to add a ton of detail to this build. It's a little bit of scaffolding. So I'm going to add only 2 on this side so that you can just see them from the outside. I definitely don't want to fill up the entire area with this. Maybe one over here as well. Why not, right? Something along these lines. And that looks pretty nice. I'm happy with that. Let's see, what else do we have here? So if we go back into construction, like I said, we need a place to store all of these materials. So I think we're going to start by putting down some of these bricks in here. So in this fashion, you want to rotate them so that they don't look, super repeating. That doesn't look very nice. Next up, let's put down some of these piles of sand, rotate them in various ways, again, to avoid repetition. And while we're at it, we can have a pile of, in this case, iron. But I think more of this as, gravel for the construction to make concrete. So it's not too bad. In fact, if we scroll all the way to this side, we can mix it up with some of these materials. Something like that. I know this may not make a lot of sense, but it really does look pretty nice. And let's just spread things out with some of these rocks over here. There we go. Not too bad. Just have a ton of rocks all around this area, so they can just source all the materials from here. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna get rid of this. It doesn't look very nice, like I said it did. But definitely make sure that all these piles are closer together so they don't mixed up with the sand that's right next to it. There we go. Not too bad. We have some glitching textures here. This piles by Evania, somehow, if you can rotate them just a little bit, you can sort of get away with the flickering. I don't know why that is happening. I think that was not something related to the asset, but a game update that came at some point, because it didn't used to work like this. In any case, moving on. Alright, so this is what it looks like after a few minutes of adding all sorts of details. As you can see, I went a little bit crazy here, but I also wanted to show you this little corner right here, because this is what this brand new neighborhood will look like once, well, they finish completing the rest of the buildings. So you can see this is like perfectly manicured and, pristine and no broken basically anything. I even did this dash paintings on their curves, which is I've noticed these types of patterns throughout the island and in countries in Asia for the most part. So I don't know, I think it looks great. Over here, I'm not so sure though, because of the yellow in the grass. They don't match up very nicely, but I'm gonna leave it like that for now, and maybe later I'll change it. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how this looks like. Let me actually see if I can show you from first person perspective. We also have some lights kind of hanging from the two buildings as well, and we have this pedestrian path sort of connecting the different areas of the building. I'm getting 10 frames per second, so I'm gonna aim towards the ocean over here. When it comes to the construction side, of course, there's a ton of detail of many kinds. Just a few cranes here and definitely rubble all over. It's construction site, so it's pretty obvious why that is. Now, when it comes to this other building over here, I added some bushes to sort of make it a little bit rougher around the edges, as if this neighborhood is still, very much under construction still, and it's probably a little bit behind this one. So, just weeds start growing in between the joints. Also, kind of made a mess of all these roads with some decals. I should probably hide this somehow. I really hate how it generates this sort of concrete intersections when you have two of the same type. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how this build came out, and even though this was a bit of a unique format for the series, I had a ton of fun working on it. It's not always going to be like this. We're probably going to go back to our regular schedule if we have the, if mass transit doesn't ruin everything, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But for the most part, I think we did great, and if you do agree with me, please consider giving this video a like. That's very much appreciated. Also, if you're new to the channel, I want to encourage you to go click the subscribe button. That way you're notified after one of my videos comes out. In the description, you're going to find the link to the full playlist in case you might have missed an episode, as well as my various social media accounts in case you want to get in touch with me, outside of YouTube. But that's it. That's all that I have to say for now. I want to thank you all for watching, and hope to see you in the next one.